Hello and welcome to the Next ReeVlog. I'm in my nice new running shirt, a majiggy, and we'll maybe be doing some running later. We'll see. It looks very bright, so it's probably going to get very hot today, in which case running isn't really on my personal to-do list. However, we'll see. As I said, I'm not conjuncting, am I? No, I don't think so. Okay, cool. Just something in my eye. Yeah. Now I'm gonna go and have breakfast once I finish recording this. Then I'll go and upload this. Yesterday was a really long day. I spent a lot of it calling insurance people, a lot of it at Wi-Fi house, looking up insurance stuff. But finally, I've finally sorted it. So house insurance for here, plus the landlord insurance for where I'm going to be living come September. Wi-Fi house are now sorted. It's all good. I need to amend something I told my granddad because I said, no, that's right. Yeah, £307 is for down there, and then it's 196 for up here. Something like that. Anyway, it's less than 307, but that's fine. I sorted that out. Now all we need to do is get the gas and electricity certificates, and then I can finally sign the contract, tenancy agreement thing, which will set the rent at a rate which will not change throughout the year, and apply for my Freeman's stuff. Oh, it's been a lot of work. I spent at least 4 hours straight down at Wi-Fi house yesterday, just getting the insurance stuff done, and it was exhausting. And I got up here and I was like, oh, what do you mean I've still got half of my daily steps to do? So I made myself some spaghetti. It was a bologna. And then went for a relatively long walk. So I didn't get back until later than I would have liked. Turns out my brother didn't come back at all yesterday, but whatever. But yeah, I need to go and ensure my granddad's phone sends a message, because I tried sending it like 20 times yesterday and it failed, because it's one of the things where the bank text him saying, confirm that this is your thing, it's unusual activity. And so I was like, well, it is, because this is the insurance stuff we just did. And I clicked reply and it just like, failed to send. So I need to fix that. So that'll be the first thing I do after breakfast, which will be leftover bologna. I've had a cup of tea already today. Made a D&D character with a pretty nice backstory, I think. Because I'm getting withdrawal symptoms and I still haven't played a wizard. So I made a level 1 wizard who is a half-elf, but they have the stats of a wood-elf. So they obviously take more after their father, who was the elf who supplied the elven genes, obviously. So they technically are a half-elf, but they look like and have the stats for a full wood elf, which means they get the 35-foot movement, they get trance, they get Mask of the Wild, they get the elven weapon training, which was difficult for me to find a way to write into their backstory, but whatever. Yeah, so their dad was a warlock who was looking for their half-brother, who was a rogue that I played in a campaign. And they were just wandering around and met the person's mother, who was a smut writer, human, doesn't live... humans don't live very long in comparison to elves, and she was not young when they met, but so those two got it on for a few days, and then the warlock was like, yo, not a douche, but I do have my own stuff to do, So his shield, because I don't really use shield, so you can give that to any sprogs that may pop out, and here's a bunch of money to look after them. Seems fair. And then Sprog popped out. That's the character. They are raised. They learn to use a shield. They're not very strong, but they make up for it by being very smart. They have the keen mind feat because there's a feat floor thing, and they go through and learn to use the shield because they're quite dexterous, so they can maneuver it and stuff with a little dagger. Because they're a kid, so they don't get trained in the proper weapons at the time. But they are all the maneuvers with the shield that they practice with the local militia-y stuff, the guards and whatnot, are enough to boost them to be quite tanky. So as far as stats go, they have 4 strength, 20 dex, 19 con, which will probably go up to 20 with the resilient feat when they next get the option to take one, or maybe not next. They might take Spell Sniper to next, and then move on to resilient after, and then grab Warcaster. They're the main ones. And then where was I going with this? Yes. Then they've got like 16 wisdom and I think like 11 charisma. I rolled better than that, but I was like, I'm always a high charisma character, and I love it, but I feel as though other people should be allowed to be high charisma characters too. Hopefully, someone will be in our group, because this is effectively a backup character in case one of my other characters like dies. Because I was going to be a Warforged wizard when I thought it was level 14. It's not, it's level 3. So I made an artificer warforged for level 3. Because I don't think low level wizards will be that fun. But I found a way. Because this particular character gets kidnapped. Because they hide from bullies and stuff because they're not very strong. But they can run and hide quite well. So they're hiding from the bullies, like, oh no, and they realise after this that if you're hiding from one thing, it doesn't mean you shouldn't keep your eyes around you from other things. So they get kidnapped by a half-orc wizard and taken far away and yada yada yada. They steal that guy's spell book eventually, having been a test subject for a bunch of spells and runs and hides and learn spells from it. They were an abjuration. It's an abjuration spellbook. That wizard happened to have. It wasn't his main spellbook, but well, the character isn't aware of that. In my brain, it's not his main spellbook, but I suppose that's up to the DM. And yeah, eventually he finds his way back to the city that he lived on the outskirts of with his mother. The journey there involves going to a vampire village through a valley which is incredibly dangerous for people to go through in general because there's 2 opposing factions of giants on either side, one of which can fire lightning and one of which just throws a lot of rocks. And so it's, yeah, they don't like people in that valley known as the Sunken Cage. But one 15, 16-year-old wood elf who's used to hiding, pretty sure they'll be alright. Then they meet up with a troop of adventurers, which is ironically matching the description of a lot of the characters I've played. There is a Naga, there is a succubus, there is a tiefling, though I missed out the whole Horns part in my backstory. But they have like demon wings. Then there is a half-elf disguised as a human. There's a half-elf. And there is a dwarf, which Naga would be Israhalianus, my sorcerer. The succubus would be Stephanie, who is a goddess technically in my world now, but wasn't always. The tiefling is Peru and Scald, my first proper D&D character. Um, then dwarf is Maladrin Amberstone. The half elf disguised as a human is Jim Paper, also known as Aaron Taru, um, who is actually related to this character. And the half elf who isn't disguised is Balshazran Bricken, known as BB to most people, who is this character's uncle, because they are the half brother to this character's dad. Yeah, but they don't know that. So yeah, they're all there. It I didn't name them in the backstory. I said they will like introduce themselves and stuff, but they are all there. And you know, if I end up using this character, it'll be a complete coincidence that there's that adventuring party. They wouldn't be the same people. They may share similar qualities, like they'll be the same class, but they'll have different names and traits and stuff. And I changed part of it anyway because the Naga I played only had 2 arms. This one has 4 arms, so 4 arms. But yeah, they effectively escort him to his city, but that they've got business to do, adventuring and stuff. So they leave him there. They leave him a short sword though, because he's a well. They taught him how to use it on the road. And they don't need it. It's just an old one, so they're like, here you go, you can have this. Bye. He goes to see his mum, who has turned into a drunkard because obviously he got kidnapped and she wasn't sure what happened. She just knew that he was gone for nearly a year. And there's a very emotional moment when they see each other. He stays for like a few months, but all the drinking plus the fact that she's getting quite old now, she's not doing so great, and it's like, yo, please leave, because like I love to know that you're safe, but I would want you to remember me well rather than remember me like, oh, and have to look after me when you can go out and do your own thing. So reluctantly, he's like, okay, if that's what you want, and goes. At this point, he is nearly 17, and goes and lives in the woods for a few years. Anyway, I'm going to go. Catch you on the flip vlog. Goodbye.